Portions of the following program may be unsuitable for younger or more sensitive viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
Remember, the enemy has only images and illusions, behind which he hides his true motives. Destroy the image, and you will break the enemy.
I'm here to tell you tonight that the businessmen, the mayor of this city, the police commissioner of this city, and everybody in the white power structure of this city must take a responsibility for everything.
Can you feel it? Can you feel it?
Luther and I, and everyone in this arena tonight, are unified by the same great American values. We're proud of our country. We respect our flag. Wouldn't you love to see one of these NFL owners, when somebody disrespects our flag, to say, get that son of off the field right now, out, he's fired. He's fired!
Race is when you use your power and influence to subject people into inferiority. Utterances can't be racist.
Look around you, man. They own this shit. They own this couch you sitting on, them shoes you got on your feet, this building, this school, this country, you. We're behind enemy lines, dog.
So you must first of all remember that this system was not originally designed with black people in mind. Right on, brother. And it definitely was not prepared for black people to, in the end, begin to demand their rights and an equal share in this country which they've died for. Right on. And we definitely are not going back to Africa.
In the church, we used to sing the song, "Good news, the chariot is coming." While you sit here today, knowing that you have come to hear good news, you must realize in advance what good news for you might be bad news for somebody else. What good news for the sheep might be bad news to the wolf.
They say, oh, things are getting so much better for you. In 1849, it was hitting blacks on the head 100 times a day. In 1990, they hit them 48 times a day. Isn't it better? Oh, it's got to be better. You're saved 52 blows.
The only purpose of most black Americans on earth today is to destroy.
I think that's noble. Italians love Italians. When Irish love Irish, but when a nigga loves a nigga, it's an unpardonable sin. They have blood in their hands. When we say they have blood in their hands, we are not saying him, George Bezos, went and killed. But white people colonized us. They dispersed us. They enslaved our people. They sucked our economy dry. They are still sucking it dry even today. That's white people. Tony Blair, George Bush, Napoleon Bonaparte, Leopold, Adolf Hitler, Benjamin Netanyahu. All white people, they are the same. They are racist and they are full of hate.
I've been waiting for you. You have many questions, and though the process has altered your consciousness, you remain irrevocably human. Ergo, some of my answers you will understand, and some of them you will not. Concordantly, while your first question may be the most pertinent, you may or may not realize it is also the most irrelevant.
Why am I here?
Our world is coming crumbling down. The coons are coming.
You got to understand that white America has an uncanny way of making the victim the victimizer. Excuse me, master, for putting my head in the way of your club. Not that your club is brutalizing my head and putting hickeys on it. My head got in the way of your free swing and broke your shiny stick, and I want to apologize for that.
Your life is the sum of a remainder of an unbalanced equation inherent to the programming of the Matrix. You are the eventuality of an anomaly which, despite my sincerest efforts, I have been unable to eliminate from what is otherwise a harmony of mathematical precision. While it remains a burden assiduously avoided, it is not unexpected and thus not beyond a measure of control. which has led you inexorably here.
There are more connections in the human body than there are stars in the galaxy. We possess a gigantic network of information to which we have almost no access.
Matrix is older than you know. I prefer counting from the emergence of one integral anomaly to the emergence of the next, in which case this is the 6th version.
5 months before me. 3. There are only 2 possible explanations. There were 5 months before me. Either no one told me, or no one knows.
Precisely. As you are undoubtedly gathering, the anomaly is systemic, creating fluctuations in even the most simplistic equations.
Control me! I'm gonna smash you to fucking yeah! Kill you! You can't make me do anything like prick!
Choice. The problem is choice.
Let us remember that we are not brutalized because we're Baptists. We're not brutalized because we're Methodists. We're not brutalized because we're Muslims. We're not brutalized because we're Catholics. We're brutalized because we are black people in America.
Because white people made him to be what he is. They made him to look evil, because that's their role, to make all of us black people to look evil and to hate ourselves. I can't hate.
You're a nigga till you die. If you're a poor nigga, you're a poor nigga. If you're a rich nigga, you're a rich nigga. But you never stop being a nigga, and if you get to be educated, you're just an educated nigga.
Well, I'm told every day I'm on air that I'm racist because I call out racism. That is maddening to me, and I'm crying about it because it's crazy.
So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is teaching you and I and trying to tell the white man to get this powder keg out of his house. Let the black man separate from his house. Let the black man have his own house. Let the black man have his own land and his own property.
I thought the bitch was white! Damn it! I thought the bitch was white!
That's true.
I think that white people are so guilty, knowing what they've done to black people, that they feel if the deeds were reversed, they would hate the black man if he had done the same thing to them. So it's actually, it reflects a guilt complex on the part of whites when they ask us, do we hate them? And if you notice, Uncle Sam has formed a habit of going all over the world. He calls it the ugly American, or the American image. He thinks that everybody hates him because it's a guilt complex. And if you think that if you are worried about Europeans hating you, and they're your allies and your cousins, well, naturally it would follow for you to think that Negroes in this country would hate you, especially in light of what has been done to black people in this country by white people.
Now check it out. The white ball dominates everything, right? Knocks the shit out the yellow ball, the red ball, right? And the game's over when the white ball drives the black ball completely off the table.
But you have to see that all of this is hypocrisy.
I love Malcolm. Malcolm called me the Sunday that he died. I was working Basin Street East. He said, "Brother Greg, you coming by today?" And I said, "Malcolm, I love you." And I said, "I love you so much, I don't even want to take a chance to be there." He said, "What do you mean, Brother Greg?" I said, "Well, I close tonight, Sunday night at Basin Street East." And I said, "But I had my wife book me a flight into Chicago at 8 o'clock this morning. And I'm going to Chicago, and I had way beneath my salary booked me into a college about 10 miles from the airport. And I'm going to go there and speak this afternoon, and I'm going to stay there until they tell me you dead. Because I'm not going to let this government get 2 of us for the price of 1. And I'm going to call Adam Clayton Powell when I finish talking to you and beg him not to come there. Because today, the United States government is going to get you."
Yeah, what's good, everybody? That's right. Your whiteologist is in the house. Want to apologize for me not coming on after I dropped that repeat of that, what we did that night, to put in the videos for those that I didn't understand that the videos didn't play. And so when I was asking everybody if they heard me, they said yes, but they never fully articulate the fact that you wasn't hearing the video. So Mr. Blows Your Mind had to go and put it all back together and do a reshoot and end up dropping a second one for those who might have just wanted to hear what those videos were. Now, want to get the spill out first, but first and foremost, before I do that, I want to say what's good to all in the fam in the house, subscribers, what's good, passerbys, welcome. To the agents, and boy, y'all be working me, boy. From the minute I turn it on, it be working, huh? It's all good, though. Well, let's get this spill out the way. As the most hated show on YouTube in the Black Corner, hello and welcome to the Black Minds News. I'm your host, the whiteologist, Mr. Blows Your Minds. This channel is to report, transmit, communicate, reiterate, decode, unveil, spread the news, whether it's by news, video, website, quotes from publications. As I articulate these information, I ask that the creator of the universe be present. And in honor of all the ancestors who created in this land, as they call the greatest country in the world, we come of the DOS, who come from the greatest people, on this show, on this channel, we give honor. For the fact that the truth don't need no partner. You know what my motto is? I'm not going to tell you what I heard. I'm going to tell you what I know. Now, every day it's new, and growing and constantly adding to our experiences that we call life. And so let me, before I go on, let me see, because I know when I got on, it was only red coming out the box. I didn't understand that at all. So let me go out into those who might be here. Let me know that everything is not buffering, that the sound check is good. If so, somebody in the audience like to give me a one mic check one to let me know that everything's good on y'all end before I proceed on. Now I'm going to go ahead on as if it is good. So I guess there's no fam in the house. So I'll just have to assume that everything is all right. Now, let's move forward then, if that's to be the case. Well, you know, again, like I said, this show, what I do is as a whiteologist, I go and I look for stories that would be of some interest, some things you should know. Sometimes they are of seriousness. Sometimes they have a little slant of something as a little smirk or a smile or just what the fuck, right? Now, let's say I got one for you. We're going to start the show off with this one. Now, let's say, right, that, you know, if you as an individual decided that you want to do, let's say, a lawsuit, right? And now the thing is, lawsuits are to remedy when somebody feels like something has been wrong, injustices have happened. So you seek the court to get some kind of justice for situations. And the court handles pretty much every situation, right? From divorce to, you know, child support to criminal to, you know, just litigations in itself, right? Now, this particular story here that I'm about to show you, well, let me play it first, and then we'll come back and I'll talk about it. Check this one out as we get it going. You know how I do it over here. So check this out. Ready? Let's get it. Maidenhead woman catapulted from bed during sex loses damage claims. You know I'm going to say that again. Maidenhead woman catapulted from bed during sex loses damage claims. Ruling it a tragic accident a judge finds the bed was not defective, even taking into account reasonable, foreseeable misuse. Read that again. Ruling it a tragic accident, a judge finds the bed was not defective, even taking into account reasonable, foreseeable misuse. This story was done November 9th, 2018. And this is how it reads. Claire Busby suffered a serious injury to her spine when she fell from the super king-size double divan. A woman left paralyzed after being catapulted from her new bed during sex has lost her damages claims against the supplier. Claire Busby of Maidenhead, Berkshire, suffered a serious injury to her spine when she fell from the super king-size double divan as she changed positions. The 46-year-old claimed the bed was in a defective state at the time of her accident and sued Berkshire Bed Company, trading as Beds R Us, which supplied it. But rejecting her case, Judge Barry Cotter found the bed was not defective, even taking into account reasonable, foreseeable misuse. He said it requires a most unfortunate and unusual combination of positionings on the bed and movement, which I do not believe would have been foreseeable by any reasonable person prior to the accident. The judge added, as a result of the matter set out above, the claim in relation to this tragic accident, which is what I find was a simple accident fall or fails. During the trial, the court heard that the bed was one of 5 delivered to Miss Busby, then home Rosewood House in Wells Road, Maidenhead, in August of 2013 when she was renovating the property. Miss Busby was injured a week after the bed's delivery, which having sex with her then partner, John Marshall. She told the court she was kneeling in the middle of the bed when she decided to move position and swung her legs from underneath her before lying back on the bed with her head towards the bottom end. At that point, she claimed the bed gave away and she fell off the end, landing on her head. During the trial, Miss Busby told the court, I spun around, I put my hand down, and then I felt like I was catapulted off the back of the bed. My head hit the floor, I fell to the side, and then I heard like a spring in my body snap. It felt like. Following the High Court judgment, Richard Mander, director of Berkshire Bed Company, said, we are delighted the court has ruled in our favor. We are sorry that Miss Busby was injured, and we wish her and her family well for the future. Okay, so we start the show off with a situation where a woman named Claire Busby, right? Her and John Marshall was getting it in, right? Now, is there a point where a bed is liable for situations where it's just normal, just sleeping? And yes, we know sex is part of when you're grown and you have bed. It's going to be part of the, of the matrimony, right? So here it was, John was putting it in, laying it like he's supposed to, I guess. And somehow she was doing a Leah. You know that song where she was saying, change position, stroke it for me, stroke it for me. You remember that song, right? So she was changing positions and somehow she was catapulted off the bed, got hurt and got paralyzed, right? Now, that's a freak accident. Now, What goes in the mind of an individual thinking that they can actually sue the bed company for activities that seem to be outside of the wear and tear of what a bed does? Now, I know it was a King Divan bed. I've never heard that one before. I guess that bed must be extremely high that she, flipped. Because she said her legs were up under her and she was putting her legs up. So I guess you're going to have to envision the position she was in. And somehow she flipped over and fell on her head, sprung her neck, and she said it felt like a spring broke, right? Said something snapped in there, right? Now, she a good customer because, matter of fact, she did buy 5 beds. You did hear in the story where she bought 5 of them beds, right? But she thought maybe she was going to get her money back and with some damage, impunity damages for what she had, what happened to her, right? So the judge was like, that was unreasonable, right? Unreasonable because the position was reasonable and foreseeable, and that was just misuse of what you were doing on the bed. You can't be remedied for that. But the point here is this. You know how we have been seeing people calling police about these little frivolous things? We had people calling police on little girls selling, Girl Scout cookies and water, and there's Bodega Becky and Parking Lot Susan, and right? The list is long. This frivolity, I made that word up. You can't find that up. I made it up. I'm Webster today. Frivolity, right? Being frivolous, right? Being frivolous in these pursuit on things that just don't make sense. Yes, you might have got hurt. But what makes you think you was going to be remedied because you and John Marshall, they made sure to make John's name up in there, right? Gave John some plubs on that, right? They gave him a little shine. John did all that damage, y'all. Yeah, but John Marshall was like John Marshall Law School, right? John was slapping the law down on that, right? Old paralyzed what's her name again? Claire Busby. Well, Claire, the judge said no, and guess what? The bed company's like, well, we apologize, but hopefully everything work out for you in the future. Because could you imagine if they would have gave that? How many people would go after and try to pull that kind of litigation against them? Put a lot of them out of business just to get free beds, right? You know how it goes, man. Everybody always trying to find some way how to get out of some shit if they can. But again, that was a little start off the show with some bull as usual. Now, I got some more because, let's put it like this. Got a scenario for you for this next one. All right, let's say whatever age you is right now, say you get another, but depending on, hopefully you're not too old. Let's say you get another 25, 30 years. Let's say you get another 20 years of where you at right now. And let's say that 20 years take you into a part of your life where you're a little bit older now, right? You're not the young spring person you was, right? You got a little older, you're a little bit more seasoned, And, maybe you single. And you say, you know what? Check this story out. I ain't going to get it. I'm going to show it to you before. Let me show you this. All right? Well, I think there's 2 parts to this. And yes, I think there is 2 parts. So, first part you're going to get, you just listen, and then I will tell you what's it. So, we're going to get it in. We're going to show this. Let's see how we're going to put it in. No. Don't do that. Go back. Do it again from the top. And 1, 2, 3. Check this out, y'all. And let's get it. Hold on. You know how they do me over here. They're going to give me a little bit of...
വ്യത്യസ്തമായ ഒരു ഹർജിയാണ് നെതർലൻഡിലെ ഹേഗിൽ 69-കാരനായ വൃദ്ധൻ സമർപ്പിച്ചത്. തന്റെ വയസ്സിൽ നിന്ന് 20 വയസ്സ് കുറച്ചു നൽകണമെന്നാണ് ഹർജിക്കാരന്റെ ആവശ്യം. എമിലെ റാറ്റൽബൻഡ് എന്ന ലൈഫ് കോച്ചിന്റെ ഈ ആവശ്യം അന്താരാഷ്ട്ര മാധ്യമങ്ങളിൽ പോലും വാർത്തയായി. തന്റെ ജനന തീയതി 1949 മാർച്ച് 11 നിന്നും 1969 മാർച്ച് 11 മാറ്റിത്തരണമെന്ന ന്യായമായ ആവശ്യം മാത്രമേ എമിലേക്കുള്ളൂ. ഒരാൾക്ക് തന്റെ പേരും രാഷ്ട്രീയവും തീരുമാനിക്കാം, എന്തിന് സ്വന്തം ലിംഗമാറ്റം പോലും നടത്താം, പിന്നെ എന്തുകൊണ്ട് സ്വന്തം ജനനത്തീയതി മാത്രം മാറ്റാൻ കഴിയില്ല എന്ന എമിലയുടെ ചോദ്യം കേൾക്കുമ്പോൾ അദ്ദേഹത്തിന്റെ ആവശ്യം ന്യായമാണെന്ന് ആർക്കും തോന്നിപ്പോകും. ആർൻഹെം നഗരത്തിലെ കോടതി ഈ കേസിൽ 4 ആഴ്ചയ്ക്കുള്ളിൽ വാദം കേൾക്കും. ജനനത്തീയതി മാറ്റാൻ നിലവിൽ നിയമങ്ങളൊന്നുമില്ലാത്തതിനാൽ എമിലയുടെ ഹർജി തള്ളാനാണ് സാധ്യതയെന്നാണ് അധികൃതരുടെ പക്ഷം. തന്റെ വയസ്സ് കാരണം താൻ പലതരത്തിലുള്ള വിവേചനം അനുഭവിക്കുന്നതായാണ് എമിലയുടെ വാദം. തന്റെ ജോലി സാധ്യതയെയും ടിൻഡർ ഡേറ്റിംഗ് ആപ്പിലെ തന്റെ അവസരങ്ങളെയും തന്റെ വയസ്സ് ബാധിക്കുന്നു. എനിക്ക് 69 വയസ്സുള്ളപ്പോൾ എന്റെ ജീവിതം പരിമിതപ്പെടുന്നു. എന്നാൽ എനിക്ക് 49 വയസ്സാണെങ്കിൽ എനിക്ക് പുതിയ വീട് വാങ്ങാം, കാറുകൾ വാങ്ങാം, കൂടുതൽ ജോലിയും ചെയ്യാമെന്നാണ് എമിലെ പറയുന്നത്. ഡേറ്റിംഗ് ആപ്പിൽ തന്റെ പ്രായം കാരണം മറുപടികളൊന്നും കിട്ടുന്നില്ലെന്നാണ് ഹർജിക്കാരൻ പറയുന്നത്. തന്റെ ഇപ്പോഴത്തെ മുഖവും 49 എന്ന വയസ്സുമാകുമ്പോൾ താൻ ഒരു ഉയർന്ന സ്ഥാനത്തെത്തുമെന്നും ഇയാൾ കരുതുന്നു. തന്റെ ഡോക്ടർമാർ പോലും തനിക്ക് ഒരു 45-കാരന്റെ ശരീരമാണ് ഇപ്പോഴുള്ളത് എന്നാണ് പറയുന്നത്. യങ് ഗോഡ് എന്നാണ് എമിലെ സ്വയം വിശേഷിപ്പിക്കുന്നത്. പ്രായം കുറച്ചു തന്നാൽ തന്റെ പെൻഷൻ തിരികെ നൽകാമെന്ന് പറയുന്ന എമിലെ നിലവിൽ വ്യക്തിത്വ വികസന പരിശീലകനായിട്ടാണ് ജോലി ചെയ്യുന്നത്. ന്യൂസ് 60ക്ക് വേണ്ടി അലീന.
This is what she said. Dutchman, 69, brings lawsuit to lower his age 20 years. You know I'm going to say that again. Dutchman, 69, brings lawsuit to lower his age 20 years. This story was done November 8th, 2018, and this is how it reads. Emil Rateban described himself as a young god. Say that again. Emil Rateban describes himself as a young god. A Dutch positivity trainer has launched a legal battle to change his age and boost his dating prospect. Emil Rateban, 69, wants to shift his birthday from 11 March 1949 to 11 March 1969, comparing the change to identity as being transgender. We live in a time when we can change your name and change your gender. Why can't I decide my own age? He said. A local court in the eastern city of Arnhem is expected to rule on the case within 4 weeks. However, officials were skeptical about the case, believing there were no legal mechanisms allowing a person to change their birth date, local reports said. One of the judges wanted to know what would become of the 20 years that Mr. Rateban wanted to erase. Who were your parents looking after then? Who was that little boy? He was quoted as saying, making the most of life. Mr. Rateban argues he feels discriminated against because of his age and that it was affecting his employment chances and his success rate on the dating app, Tinder. When I'm 69, I am limited. If I'm 49, then I can buy a new house, drive a different car. I can take up more work, he said. When I'm on Tinder and says I'm 69, I don't get an answer. When I'm 49, with the face I have, I will be in a luxurious position. Mr. Rateban further argues that according to his doctor, he has the body of a 45-year-old and describes himself as a young god. He went on Facebook last year to describe how he had made the decision one day standing in front of a mirror, not because he feared getting old, but because he wanted to make the most of his life for as long as possible. Men 67 denied job because of his age bias. Bored stiff man 91 retires at last. He also said he would renounce his pension if he switched his birthday. The Netherlands Constitution expressly prohibits employment discrimination on the bias of age or basis of age. Mr. Ray-Ban, a media personality and motivational guru, converted to Buddhism earlier this year and is a trainer in neurolinguistic programming. He voiced the character Vladimir Trukov in Dutch language version of the Pixar film Cars 2. All right, another one of these litigated stories by like Caucasians, right? Caucasians, boy, I tell you, boy, y'all some funny people, man. Y'all can find what they say. They say about the district attorney, he can convict with a ham sandwich. Well, goddamn it, here you go, right? He can convict with a ham sandwich. Well, that means that these people can find a litigation in anything, right? Here was old Mr. M. Ray-Ban, right? Called himself AKA, he said, young God, right? He said he a young God. Here he is, 69 years of age. He sat down and thought about some shit. He said, you know what? You know, people was here changing their damn sex. They could be a woman, could be a man could be a woman, right? He's saying they doing all kind of things that they changing. He said, well, shit. Is it against the law for me to change my age to what I want my age to be? What? The court was even like, wait a minute, I don't think we got enough shit on the books for that shit right there. What? This motherfucker came in here and said, well, the judge was like, oh, okay, if we decide to do that shit, what is it you trying to do? He said, well, you know, I mean, he's 69 and shit. He said, I'm trying to be on Tinder and shit, trying to get, pick up some women and whatnot. And guess what? When I put my profile, I got 69 on there. I ain't getting no hits. I ain't getting no clicks. But if I put 49 in there, right? He said, it's a luxury of life for me. He said, I got the body of a 45-year-old. Huh? And he said, matter of fact, if you give it to me, man, you could take back the pension. He already got money, so he could throw that shit, right? Right? Think about that shit, right? So he was just, right? Think about that. He is actually saying, litigating to change his age. Now, see, let me tell you something. I mean, one time I had to go get my license renewed. So I went in a place, because I was working somewhere, and I was in another area, and I went there to the DMV. And when I went to the DMV to get there, took the picture and everything, and then she was like, okay, it's all the address and all that stuff, saying wait and all that. Okay. She said, you want to change your social security number? I was like, what? She said, you want to change your social security number? I said, you can do that? She said, they do that all the time. Huh? A white secret. That was a white secret. Ain't that a bitch? They've been switching their damn social security numbers. Huh? Now, for those who've been around, you remember when you used to get the credit card, when you mailed the shit in, it took you get, so you already got the shit at the store. All you used to do is remember to slide the shit, right? They signed the motherfucker. You walked up out of there. They ain't had a digital now where they approve your shit decline right there. No, you got the merchandise right then and there. So you know what? You know all that bankruptcy and shit came from chapter 13 and chapter 7. That's because these motherfuckers always finding a way, always trying to find a way to undermine the system. By the time it get in our hand, see, we can still take, even though after the fact we'll find some shit too, but it be already, they done already found all the holes and they done tore the shit up, and then when they hand it to you, like they say handy downs and shit, it's already been hand down so much. So here this cat, 69-mile Ray-Ban, decide he gonna take a litigation and talk about he wanna change his age. He ain't got, wait a minute. Changing your age, he could have just did that anyway, right? He trying to legalize it. So the judge is like, well, okay, well, what about your parents? Well, he's 69. We ain't talking about his parents. That was saying like a stupid-ass question to ask him any damn way, right? Judge is like, well, what about, who would care for your parents? What? Changing his age ain't got shit to do with the fact that he can still, oh, my God. You know what I'm saying? This was a motherfucker in the court. Said that shit, right? Oh, okay, so again, he's looking at the opportunities. He's saying, man, I could pick up some young chicks, man, by saying I'm 49, even though yet I'm 69. Huh? All right, again, frivolous nonsense, right? Frivolous shit. But again, it's the American way. Now, for the sisters that might be hearing this show, I got one for y'all. Right, I got one for you. Let's say you or maybe your daughter or granddaughter, right? Y'all on a plane. And, you know, sometimes people absent-minded, they rushing, they didn't get everything, they left something. And y'all got like a newborn. Right? Say maybe about, say, 3 months, 4 months. It's maybe more like 2 months, right? Let's say it's still brand new. You get on the damn plane, kind of find you ain't got no, let's say you ain't got nothing to feed the baby with, right? Can't get the baby juice, it's too young for juice, right? It's still kind of like either you giving it the Similac in the can or the powder, or you giving it straight breast milk, right? I'm going to play this story because that's the one part I'm looking at. That baby was, now hold on, let me play this for you. And then let's see and I'll come back. Let's check this out. Flight attendant breastfeeds passenger's baby after mother runs out of formula on plane. You know I'm going to say that again. Flight attendant breastfeeds passenger's baby after mother runs out of formula on plane. This story was done November 9th, 2018, and this is how it reads. Philippines Airlines flight attendant Patricia Organo is being praised for breastfeeding a passenger's baby after the mother ran out of formula. In a viral Facebook post shared Wednesday, Organo 24 says she offered to help out the mother after she heard the hungry baby crying. After takeoff, I heard an infant cry, a cry that will make you want to do anything to help. I approached the mother and asked if everything's okay. She wrote, I tried to tell her to feed her hungry child. Teary-eyed, she told me that she ran out of formula milk. She continued, I felt a pinch in my heart. There's no formula milk on board. I thought to myself, there's only one thing I could offer, and that's my own milk. And so I offered. Her post, which included a photo of herself holding the baby, was over 145,000 likes, over 6,000 comments, and has been shared nearly 30,000 times. I breastfed a stranger's baby in flight. Yesterday, I was scheduled for a check flight to be qualified as a cabin crew elevator. I thought this flight gonna be so special as this is a big step on my flying career. Everything went smoothly until after takeoff. I heard an infant cry, a cry that will make you want to do anything to help. I approached the mother and asked if everything's okay. I tried to tell her to feed her hungry child. Teary-eyed, she told me, and we read that already. Organo explained she and the mother then went to a private area of the plane to feed the baby. The baby started rooting. She was so hungry, she wrote. I saw the relief on her mother's eyes. I continued to feed the baby until she fell asleep. I escorted her back to her seat, and just before I left, the mother sincerely thanked me. Organo told Yahoo that she has a 9-month-old daughter of her own, so she recognized the difference between a cry of hunger, a cry of sleepiness, or a cry of something else. All right, so here was a story about a woman who got on an airline with a baby, and as I gave you a little scenario prior to that, didn't have no formula for the baby. So the baby on the plane bawling and screaming and crying. Now, you see the way they wrote it. They said that the stewardess comes and said, you know, is anything I can help you with? But she said she came because the way the baby was screaming, and you know, that kind of scream, you know, no, it was irritating the shit out of everybody on the damn plane. That's what that was. It was irritating everybody else on the damn plane, and it was like, somebody shut that damn baby up. What the hell wrong with her ass? Why don't you shut the baby? The colicky or something? But a pacifier? She ain't even got a pacifier. What? We might be hearing this story again. Because first thing I'm thinking is, you had this baby. Is this your baby? Because why are you getting some breast of a stranger? Don't you got 2 breasts? Huh? Don't she got 2 breasts her own damn self? Okay, you ain't got no milk. I get that. This baby that small, you ain't got no breasts. So you gonna let some sisters? How many sisters people let somebody suck? Let you suck? Matter of fact, I don't. Is that even kosher? Is it even kosher to let somebody else? Ain't that some programming in the nursing when you suckling with a baby? Ain't you programming like the mother and its chemical into the? Isn't that what that's doing? And you gonna give a stranger? Okay, right? I know sisters saying like, ain't no damn way. I'll be that's some no, right? You ain't gonna do that. Sister ain't gonna do that. So you know that ain't us, right? You know that wasn't no sister, right? You know we ain't got no picture to see that. So they ain't gonna do that. You ain't gonna let somebody else put their titty in your baby's mouth, right? You don't do no shit like that. But again, that's how it goes, right? So let me go on because I got quite a little bit in here, but let's get it going. So I know you might have heard this one here because, you know, again, as we're already talking about planes, right? We're talking about planes already. So, you know, again, when those who fly and be on planes, you know, all kind of stuff happen. You know, you got hundreds of people in a little confined area, and people trying to get to places and this, you know, different mindsets, and people got different reasons why they're going for grieving, or maybe it's business, or they're just fucking off, or whatever it might be, right? Or you could have had just a bad day or whatever, and then somebody just kind of, you know, rub you the wrong way, right? So unless you the type that done gave it, or sometimes you take it, here was a story that had happened, and let me let you see it, and then I'll come back.
Big me, you ain't gonna do but talk your like a ass like this. Shut the up, and I get off this plane and have some niggas you up. So do something. Do something. Why you talking do something. Why you talking Exactly. So shut your mouth. Ass. You want to hear all the talk to a bitch. You're a Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. I don't have no kid. Stupid. That's not my kid. I don't give a That's not my kid. Shut your mouth. Ain't got with you. Learn how to respect your elders. Probably older than you. Shut the up. Blonde head ass. Shut the up. I don't give a about you. You don't scare nothing. You don't scare nothing over here. Do something. Your makeup do something. You look like fucking androgynous ass. Androgynous ass. It's always some gay ass light skin. You don't see none of the dark skin doing it. You don't see none of the dark skin talking about that because he got a fat ass. That's why. He got a fat pregnant dog. He got a fat yo. A big thing ready for your mouth. Gay ass.
She didn't. No, she did. She said he had a fat ass pussy. No, she didn't. All right, I hope no children don't hear me say that. No, she did tell him that, right? So he was insist on this flight that kind of went and did his rounds, right? And she get it to. I didn't get to see homie, whoever that was over there, but she was reading him his rights. Somehow he rubbed it in the wrong way, and you know, just to get a little irritable. Right? She got a lot of stuff going on, you know what I'm saying? And she was just letting them have it. And, you know, today and the way it is today, you fuck around and be viral because somebody want to record your ass, right? And so sometimes people not mindful of that, but they say, fuck it. You know, it's kind of like the way when you look at those, what they used to call them damn shows, those reality TV shows. Go back to the original one. I remember when they first did it, you know, people used to be mindful of the cameras then. Then after a period of time, that's what done happen with society now. They don't get no shit about no camera, right? You still seeing people stealing, doing all kind of crazy shit in the camera right there. They don't get no fuck. But see, those who've been around a little bit, we know we're a little conscious, and so that's why a lot of y'all don't want to get on here when I say call in, right? Because you don't want to be recorded, right? So anyway, so this sister just go ahead and just, berated this cat, called him all kinds of, it happens, right? Sometimes it's a bad day, right? But, it's going to go viral because, again, the stigmatization of being a sister, right? Now, there's other things of little frivolous shit like changing your name and taking a court. Oh, that's not going to make the news. But that there will go viral, right? Because it's us, right? It's always going to be that way. So, you might have heard they may didn't see that. I ain't going to elaborate too much on that. It is what it is, right? And it happens. Now, what I'm going to play here, November 7th came and it's gone. But it seems to be like it ain't done yet. After all that had been done, all that, people going out and voting and all this stuff, but it seems like Florida always got a problem. See, they want us to believe that there's fairness in the process. That, you get up, you go, you vote, they count the votes, and the one with the most is going to win. That's it. No discrepancies, none of that shit. I don't see it like that no more. Do y'all see it like that anymore? Boy, I tell you, because the demographics, as we're going to talk about today, why like all this frivolous stuff that we seeing, and then you seeing on the other side of it, the people hyping and getting angry, that's because the change is happening. There's a real change happening. But anyway, let's stick to where I'm at right now, then we'll get to the other part. Now, again, people were voting. Now, again, we done heard Florida every time. For those who've been around with Florida, always seem to have some damn problem. What is it about Florida and they can't get right, huh? You know that in life, remember the dude, he said, I be the baby's pappy. Remember when they did the whole line and there was a dude, his name was Can't Get Right? The one, he could play baseball, he couldn't talk and shit, but he was Can't Get Right? Well, that's like Florida. Florida just seemed to can't get right. Well, let me show you what they were talking about. Let me show you, then we'll come back and talk about that when I get back. Check it out.
On the recount and the battle over the ballots in Florida, the demonstrators on both sides now protesting in Broward. And questions over the process, let's bring in our panel. Antoine Seawright, Democratic strategist, former senior advisor to Hillary Clinton in South Carolina. He's also the founder and CEO of Blueprint Strategy. And Alana Raitley, GOP strategist and secretary of the Kansas Republican Party. Welcome to you both. Antoine, let me start with you. Your reaction to the fact that there now will be a recount.
Well, Florida is doing what Florida always does, and that's make America wait again. But I'm so thankful that there is a recount, because what's most important is that Americans feel good about the vote they cast. They feel good about the most sacred thing we have in our democracy, and that is our vote. And it needs to be counted, and the election should be fair, and the process should be fair. So I'm willing to wait this out until we see what the end is going to be. But also, after this is over, I think it's so important that boys and girls, Democrats and Republicans, get together and figure out how we not let this happen again, because American citizens should not have to sit on the edge of their seat to determine how election went after they've cast their vote.
Alana, I mean, we've had the long lines in many places throughout the country. Now you have the long wait. What is your reaction to this recount? Do you think it'll be credible?
I agree with a lot of what Antoine said, and I think, when you have 4 days after an election, you're still counting the votes. I mean, this is ridiculous. As a graduate of a Broward County High School and Florida State University, I want to see all the votes counted in Florida. Absolutely, we need to have a good process here, but I want to see those be legitimate votes. The fact that we're going in and changing things and finding things and validating questionable ballots 4 days later, that's just not acceptable.
Well, when you say finding things, what do you specifically mean by that? Because this is part of the credible process of counting. I mean, are they finding, bags of votes in a closet someplace?
Well, we're hearing of like 204 votes that came in afterwards that were setting aside, those are questionable ones. The 20 votes that they claimed were invalid after the fact. This is not unusual for Broward County. In 2000, I also lived in Tallahassee, and this seems like deja vu. I mean, we had this same problem in 2000. The fact that we're still dealing with this 18 years later, this is a little bit embarrassing for America.
Antoine, your reaction to
But I think the most dangerous thing anyone could do is make assumptions. All we keep hearing from the right and even from some in the right-wing media is say we heard or this is what we understand. I think we have to let this process play out and not assume what we do not know. I think it's so important that we deal only in fact, because this should not be a partisan issue. It should not be something that the right will take and use as a talking point or a red meat object to throw at their base to question the integrity of this election, regardless of how it plays out. I think we have to chill out with the whole assumptions of this is what we heard or this is what we may have read or saw on social media, but wait until the process plays itself out. I think that's so important.
Well, the authorities have said that there's no evidence of voter fraud, despite the claims by the president and others about that. Here's the statement. We saw one that in the news conference within the last hour and a half, and where they said there's no evidence of all this. This is what they said yesterday. Florida Department of Law Enforcement. They said the FDLE communicated with the Department of State, and they indicated at the time that they have no allegations of fraud. We offered our assistance in the event that any criminal allegations are identified and will remain in contact with them. So, Alana, I mean, do you have faith that this, at the end, the process will be done correctly, legally, and fairly?
Well, I certainly hope so. You know, I think all of us would like to be more united across the country. And if it's not, and it's proven that it's not, I think it will cause further division. But I mean, I don't have a great amount of faith because, like I said, being a resident for Florida for so many years, this happens frequently, and it always happens there in Broward. So, you know, I like to be hopeful. I would like to feel that everything is going to come out right, and I'm very hopeful, and I pray that it will. But I can't say I have a 100% confidence in that.
And finally,
well,
Alana,
you should, Alana, because we just heard from Florida officials to saying there's no evidence of voter fraud that we've seen or they've detected. I am quite certain in this environment, if anything, if there was a slight bit of wrongdoing in any way, we would have heard it by now from the president on down to dog catchers in Florida about wrongdoing, because it would have been blamed on the Democrats.
Well, Alana, you know,
well, let's let that process play out, just like you said, Antoine.
Absolutely.
Final word. I mean, there are people are criticizing Brenda Snipes. I mean, looking at her record, they destroyed absentee ballots in 2004. They lost them. I mean, lost absentee ballots, destroyed in 2016, and she said that was a mistake. Do you have faith in her stewardship of what is going on now? Because there have been a lot of questions aimed at her.
I have complete faith.
Yeah, Antoine, go ahead, and then I'll have Alana answer.
I'm sorry. I have complete faith in the process. I have complete faith in her because, again, if there was any ounce of wrongdoing, we would have heard it by now. And I think the officials are watching this process very closely, and they would have intervened very quickly had there been any notion or idea of any wrongdoing.
Alana, last word.
You know, again, I would have to say that there has been a lack of transparency in this process. And again, I'm not 100% sure we're going to have the outcome that is completely fair and honest.
All right, we'll see when that outcome comes. And certainly all eyes are on Florida yet again. Hopefully no hanging chads. Remember those after we went through that in 2000? But we'll see. The recount is on, has been ordered.
Don't remind us.
We'll see. I know. We'll see how this goes.
Photos show scores of uncounted ballots in Opa-locka Mail Center. You know I'm going to read that again. Photos show scores of uncounted ballots in Opa-locka Mail Center. This story was done November 8th or November 9th, 2018. And this is how it reads. This is an update. The Miami Herald report that 266 ballots from the Opa-locka mail facility arrived at the Miami-Dade County Election Department on Saturday morning. It is unclear when the ballots were initially postmarked. Per state law, the ballots will not count towards the election unless they are from military members or people living overseas. Miami-Dade County announced today that it has finished counting votes for the 2018 election. But photos obtained by News Time show scores of mail-in ballots sitting inside an Opa-locka mail distribution center, the same center that was evacuated last month after alleged mail bomber Cesar Sayo pipe bomb passed through the facility. Several local activists demonstrated outside both the mail facility and at the Miami-Dade County Election Department to try to bring attention to the ballots. Two sources who spoke with New Time alleged hundreds of ballots might still be inside. Susie Trusty, a spokesperson for the election department, told News Time her office was aware of the ballots but confirmed nothing else about them. She said that per state law, any ballots not delivered to the Miami-Dade Election Department by 7 p.m. on Election Day could not be counted towards the 2018 total. We do our best to educate voters that if you're voting, vote by mail, then your ballot had to be at the election department by Tuesday, November 6th, she said. Not everybody mailed back in time. Asked whether the ballots had been sitting inside the Opa-locka Center undelivered on Election Day or when the place was evaluated, Trustee referred questions to the United States Postal Service. After this story was initially published, Truty added that the election department ran daily posts, office picked up the election season, and picked up the ballots there at different times on Election Day. Ty Russell, reporter with CBS Miami, tweeted minutes ago that he spoken with the USPS and that it was not aware of any ballots being mishandled. After this story was initially published, the USPS confirmed to the Miami Herald that the agency is still investigating the way the ballots were handled. U.S. Rep. Frederica Wilson's office also told the Herald that she spoke to the USPS and that the agency told her ballots had been postmarked after Election Day and were thus ineligible. State law does, however, provide a 10-day extension for overseas voters and members of military. But sources who spoke with News Time probably worried that ballots had potentially been sitting inside the mailroom for days or weeks before Election Day. Sources expressed frustration that more wasn't done to collect outstanding ballots before the 7 p.m. election deadline. One source who claimed to have reported the issue to the election department said that the Opa-locka distribution center was understaffed, and that there were not enough employees to handle the flood of ballots that had come in just before the election. The day after the election, a Twitter user posted a clip purporting to show a USPS worker in Miami explaining what was going on. The woman said ballots were sitting on the floor hours after the delivery deadline had passed.
We had ballots, mail-in ballots, sitting on the floor, like getting ready for the truck to take it, to mail it away.
Like how many boxes or ballots do you think?
There was lots of ballots. Like we have these things called GPCs that the mail goes into, and it was full of mail-in ballots.
And those has not been counted?
They couldn't have been counted. It was 7 o'clock. That I left work last night.
That's right. Miami Beach.
Absolutely.
And they claim victory like about 9 p.m. or so. So it's impossible those has
It's
not been
impossible.
counted.
Impossible.
Okay. Do you hear that, Twitter? There needs to be an investigation about the Florida results.
While there is still no direct evidence that the post office failed to deliver valid votes, such an issue has occurred in the past in other cities. Earlier this year, the USPS delivered nearly 2,000 pieces of late first-class mail to the New York City Board of Elections, including 533 valid ballots that should have counted in the November 2017 election, according to the public radio station WNYC. The margin in Florida of 2018 midterm races, meanwhile, are razor-thin. Don DeSantis and Rick Scott currently lead their Democratic opponents, Andrew Gillum and Bill Nelson, by less than 0.5 percentage point each. Scott seems particularly nervous about a looming recount in his race and has sued the Broward and Palm Beach County Supervisor of Elections in what appears to be an attempt to slow or stop the ballot counting process. Scott, without a shred of evidence, alleges Broward is committing election fraud and stealing the race for the Democrats, but the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, which answers to Scott, says no formal allegations of fraud has been filed. The race for agricultural commissioner is also headed to a recount. Progressive Democrats Nikki Fried leads Republican Matt Caldwell by just a few thousand votes. Miami-Dade County is a left-leaning county, but does contain pockets of hard-right voters. It's quite possible a few hundred extra ballots from Dade could have changed the margin in the election. However, at the moment, it is unclear how many might have been left undelivered by the postal workers, or if ballots just truly did not arrive by mail in time. The Miami-Dade Election Department, however, still continue to receive ballots by mail. Those ballots, the department says, won't be counted. The Opelika debacle may explain why one Miami-Dade voter's ballots never made it to the election office. Kirk Nielsen, a former New Times writer who lives in Coral Gables, said he mailed his ballot at the University of Miami post office on October 29, but learned after election that it hadn't been received. Of course, I wonder if my ballot is sitting in Opelika mail facility along with many others, he said. I hope there's an investigation. Having voted by mail in several prior elections, Nielsen says he knew how to check the Miami-Dade election website to see where his ballot arrived. When he checked on Tuesday afternoon, however, the site informed him that his ballot hadn't been received yet. Nielsen briefly considered driving to the polling place to fill out a provisional ballot, but ultimately assured himself it was probably just a matter of websites not being updated. When he called the election office the next day, however, a representative told him his ballots wasn't counted and had never even arrived. I was disappointed there wasn't more concern like, oh, well, we better try to go find your ballot, he says. On Friday, Nielsen said he had no idea what happened to his mail and ballot. There are bigger questions, he said. It's not really about how I feel, but it's like, where's my ballot? All right, so now, I know it was a little long, y'all. Didn't mean it to be that long, but again, there's some information in there that need to be discerned, or I should disseminate it as well. Now, for, those who, again, are all into, the system, believing that everything is according to the way you've been taught, and that it's fair, right? And here it was that in this Opelika post office, they had mounds and mounds of mailed-in ballots that they're going to say came after the fact of the time that is stated that you're supposed to mail it in. Now, the only way that you can prove that unless you got it stamped, but most people probably didn't do that, which is probably would have been like, what, certified mail or something? You know, you have a receipt with a time and date. So what I'm saying is, if you look at that Florida race and see how close that race is, right? And then that Gillum decided that he had conceded, right? Now he had to recant that and come back and say, well, no, we're going to let the votes get counted first, right? So there is some funny business, and it's always seemed to be in Florida that there's always some funny business going on. And so this kind of stuff is what discouraged a lot of people who look at this stuff and be like, man, can you get a fair shake in this place? Or is it that somebody on the other side is actually fighting, scraping, crawling to stay in position? Maybe that's what that is. Maybe these demographics are changing in such a way that they can't hold on much longer. What are you talking about, Mr. Blows Your Mind? Last time I heard you talk like that, you came out with a video called White Extinction, right? Sure did, y'all. Guess what you're going to get tonight? An update version of White Extinction. You better get that word. You better get an update version of what I had did going back just about 5 years ago. So I'm going to give you an update today because, again, as I led you up to where we at right now, what is going on that people got to do all this cheating? Boy, if you got all the numbers you claim you got, you shouldn't have to do all that. You shouldn't have to be trying to hide and we're not going to count this and we're going to talk about Chads. We're going to talk about license and all. What's going on? Well, here's the update. Sit back for a second. We're going to start off with this, but listen to what's being said. Listen and hear what's being said. Should I go back to back? Yeah, I think I will. Let me go back to back with that. Matter of fact, let's take a 2-minute, 41-second quick break. Should I take the break? Let me see. Let me see who in the audience first. Let me see who out here now. Let me see who out here now. Let's see any fam in the house. Got Angela Barron. Angela Barron said next best thing to Cambodian breast milk, huh? What's good, girl? Fresh as hell, ITFW. What's good, brother? So I got a couple family in the house. All right, so I'm going to go ahead. I'm not even going to do the break there. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to go on to this, play this, listen to this sound bit, and let's get it. Check it out.
Day 1000 of the Siege of Seattle.
The Muslim community demands an end to the army's occupation of mosques.
The Homeland Security Bill is ratified. After 8 years, British borders will remain closed. The deportation of illegal immigrants will continue. Good morning. Our lead story.
The world was stunned today by the death of Diego Ricardo, the youngest person on the planet. Baby Diego was stabbed outside a bar in Buenos Aires after refusing to sign an autograph.
Witnesses at the scene say that Diego spat in the face of a fan who asked for an autograph. He was killed in the ensuing brawl. The fan was later beaten to death by the angry crowd. Born in 2009, the son of Marcelo and Silvia Ricardo, a working-class couple from Mendoza, he struggled all his life with the celebrity status thrust upon him as the world's youngest person.
Diego Ricardo, the youngest person on the planet, was 18 years, 4 months, 20 days, 16 hours, and 8 minutes old.
Remarkable decline in fertility rates. You know I'm going to say that again. Remarkable decline in fertility rates. This story was done November 9th, 2018. And this is how it reads. There has been a remarkable global decline in the number of children women are having, says researchers. Their report found fertility rates fall meant nearly half of countries were now facing a baby bust, meaning there are insufficient children to maintain their population size. The researchers said the findings were a huge surprise, and there would be profound consequences for society with more grandparents than grandchildren. How big has the fall been? The study published in The Lancet followed trends in every country from 1950 to 2017. In 1950, women were having an average of 4.7 children in their lifetime. The fertility rate all but halved to 2.4 children per woman by last year. But that masked huge variation between nations. The fertility rate in Niger, West Africa, is 7.1, but in the Mediterranean islands of Cyprus, women are having one child on average. In the UK, the rate is 1.7, similar to most Western European countries. How high does the fertility rate have to be? The total fertility rate is the average number of children a woman gives birth to in their lifetime. It differs to the birth rate, which is the number of children born per 1,000 people each year. Whatever a country rate drops below approximately 2.1, the population will eventually start to shrink. This baby bust figure is significantly higher in countries which have high rates of death in childhood. At the start of the study in 1950, there were 0 nations in this position. Why I never wanted babies. I'm not having children because I want to save the planet. Hans Rosling, Population Profit, 5 final thoughts. Professor Christopher Murray, the director of the Institute for Health Metrics and Evaluation at the University of Washington, told the BBC, "We've reached this watershed where half of countries have fertility rates below the replacement level. So if nothing happens, the population will decline in those countries." It's a remarkable transition. It's a surprise even to people like myself. The idea that it's half the countries in the world will be a huge surprise to people. Women are having fewer children. Which countries are affected more economically? Developed countries, including most of Europe, the United States, South Korea, and Australia, have lower fertility rates. It does not mean the number of people living in these countries is falling, at least not yet, as the size of a population is a mix of the fertility rates, death rates, and migration. It can also take a generation for changes in fertility rates to take hold. But Professor Murray says we will soon be transitioning to a point where society are grappling with a declining population. Half the world's nations are still producing enough children to grow, but as more countries advance economically, more will have lower fertility rates. We'd rather give our daughters the best of everything. Rachel Jacobs, 38, of Kent, had her first and only child 7 years ago. I've always focused on my career. When I was pregnant, I was still focusing on my career. I know that we can survive on what we earn as a family and still go on holidays every year. If we had more than one child, we couldn't go on holidays. We'd rather give our daughter the best of everything than have multiple children that we can just about feed and clothe. My partner and I are also thinking about the future. We want to be in a position where we can help her financially with university or housing. I don't want to ever have to say that she can't go to a party or have a new Christmas jumper. Why is the fertility rate falling? The fall in fertility rates is not down to sperm count or any of the things that normally come to mind when thinking of fertility. Instead, it's being put down to 3 key factors. Fewer deaths in childhood, meaning women have fewer babies. Greater access to contraceptions, more women in education and work. In many ways, falling fertility rates are a success story. Where women are having most children, the average fertility rates, top 10 countries in 2017. Niger, 7.1. Chad, 6.7. Somalia, 6.1. Mali, 6. Afghanistan, 6. South Sudan, 5.9. Burkina Faso, 5.4. Burundi, 5.3. Uganda, 5.2. Angola, 5.1. Where women are having fewest children, average fertility rates bottom 10 countries in 2017. Cyprus, 1. Taiwan, 1. South Korea, 1.2. Andorra, 1.2. Puerto Rico, 1.2. Thailand, 1.2. Bosnia-Herzegovina, 1.3. Poland, 1.3. Moldova, 1.3. Japan, 1.3. What will the impact be? Without migrations, countries will face aging and shrinking populations. Dr. George Leeson, director of the Oxford Institution of Population Aging, says that does not have to be a bad thing as long as the whole of society adjusts to the massive demographic change. He told the BBC, demography impacts of every single aspect of our lives. Just look out of your window at people on the street, the houses, the traffic, the consumption. It is all driven by demography. Everything we plan for is not just driven by the numbers in the population, but also the age structure, and that is changing. So fundamentally, we haven't got our heads around it. He thinks workplaces are going to have to change, and even the idea of retiring at 68. The current maximum in the UK will be sustainable. The report, part of the Global Burden of Disease Analyst, says the effect countries will need to consider increasing immigration, which can create its own problems, or introducing policies to encourage women to have more children, which often fails. Reports author Professor Murray argues, on current trends, there will be very few children and lots of people over the age of 65, and that's very difficult to sustain global society. Think of all the profound social and economic consequences of a society structured like that with more grandparents than grandchildren. I think Japan is very aware of this. They're facing declining population, but I don't think it hits many countries in the West because low fertilities have been compensated with migration. At a global level, there is no migration solution, Professor Murray says. But while the change may challenge societies, it may also have environmental benefits given the impact of our species. What about China? China has seen huge population growth since 1950, going from around 500 million inhabitants to 1.4 billion. But it too is facing the challenge of fertility rates, which stood at only 1.5 in 2017 and has recently moved away from its famous one-child policy. The reason developed countries need a fertility rate of 2.1 is because not all children survive to adulthood, and babies are ever so slightly more likely to be male than female. But in China, the report shows for every 100 girls born, there were 117 boys, which implies very substantial sex selection, abortions, and even the possibility of female infanticide. That means every more children need to be born to have a stable population. All right. Now, you know I'm the original one in this black corner who brought this information that you hear most people talk about. That looks like you. Now, it would only be right for me to do the update. Now, they said there's a remarkable global decline in the number of children that women are having. They said that's what the researchers say. Now, who are they talking about? Are they talking about us included? You know they weren't talking about us, right? Because as you've seen in the graphs, you've seen when they talk about the continent, they were averaging 7 all the way down to 5. So, you know, pretty much Africans, the continent is still producing children, but it went to the other side, from the Mediterranean to Europe. And they didn't want to show Europe. They didn't want to show that. Right? Because it's declining much rapidly than they expected. And they've been doing everything possible to try to deal with this situation. And the problem is, for them, and there will be a problem for us, is because the psychological aspect of knowing that, right? And as we were just looking at the clip about them barely being able to get their man in politically, and as time goes on, that's going to be even harder and harder, because that first clip, as I showed you, right, the movie is called Children of Men. If y'all haven't seen that, I advise you to go check that out, because that was kind of, I seen that movie years back when they first came out. I think it was in 2000, almost 18 to 20 years ago when that movie came out. And when I first seen it, I kind of understand it, but I recognized it, and I said, oh, okay, now I get what it's about, right? See, they seen this coming. The forecast knew it was coming. And so, as that report you heard me read, is showing that it's global, and it's affecting a certain type of people other than these other people, right? So, let's see. I was going to actually show y'all this, but I'm going to let you do this on your own. If you should happen to have your phone or something right now, and you can actually do this quick little research, because it would have been too graphic. And they would have said, hell no, you ain't going to do that to us. But maybe on the replay I might. Well, the word is called Peyronie disease. I'll spell it for you. Peyronie disease. Now, what that is I really want to show this, because I want to throw something at sisters. Man, I should have threw it in there, but I know it's really going to tie their ass up, and they're going to be really upset. You see what they did to the original, right? You see what they did to the original White Extinction video. Numbers don't change. You got to sign in, all that other stuff, right? So this is the follow-up. This is 2018, right? Remarkable, they saying, right? It's alarming to them, right? Very alarming. And according to them, they had been doing this study since 1950. And then, are they trying to knock me out? Because I'm looking at stuff talking about reconnection. What the? Hold on. Let me look out here. What are they talking about reconnection? Oh, did they stop me again? See, I told you. I knew. Oh, what's good, Yahya Kabir? Looked like they had stopped me for a second, so I had to come back and check. Okay, so, again, something is happening, but they got a remedy. You know that ain't that right, Kabir? You know about remedy, right? You know law. So they got a remedy. And the remedy is you and I, whether it be male or female. You know, let's look at the continent, right? Matter of fact, before I even get into that, let me go on and give you the other aspects of this dissertation, right? Let's see. Well, let's do this. I'm going to go here and play this first. Oh, yeah, we're going to get it in tonight. I got some clips tonight. Let's see if it's going to let me get it in. Let's see. Ready? Check this out.
I'm scared. Please help me.
Jesus Christ.
Kay!
What are you doing?
Kay! Are you alright?
She wanted him to know. She has the right.
Of course she has.
For God's sake.
When you're ready, come inside. Everybody's arrived. She's pregnant. Now you know what's at stake. She's pregnant. Yeah, I know. It's a miracle, isn't it?
Okay. Right? I showed you the first clip where the one that was the youngest left on the planet was a little white boy. But he got killed because of his fame and he was the youngest, and everybody seen him. It was like being a star amongst, and again, when you seen that clip, everybody you seen in that clip was white. They had a policeman, he was black, right? Right? And he was in there, right? But that was the depiction of them. And what was being shown was the little white boy had got killed. He was the youngest. He was the hope that they could, right, produce themselves when everybody else seemed to be not having. And guess who the only one that's going to be able to have children? Oh, yes, sister. You thought he just liked you because he wanted you. That's part of it, too, because we want you, right? So he wants you, too, but he wants you for another reason. Because, see, that word I just gave y'all, that P-E-Y-R-O-N-I-E, if any of y'all see that, you're going to see how y'all falling in love with that. Huh? Wait a minute. That is crazy. If any of y'all could just look that up, because I would have played it. And when you see it, you'll know why I didn't do it. Because if I put that on here, they ain't finna let this play. Right? So, based on that, what you'll see when you look that up, based on she can't have children, you put that together and you see why that ain't happening, right? You'll see why that part is failing. So, you know, they tell you that Africa's soil is so fertile, that if you took some seeds and you just kind of threw them out, you didn't have to dig and put them in the soil. It will sprout because the soil is so fertile. Well, if we took that same analogy and start looking at beings, based on what it was said in the report, Seems like people from the continent and people of Africa, they ain't having problems with having children. Remember that Macron from France came into Africa and was talking about women having babies? He was trying to belittle it. Trying to belittle the fact that they still having children. So this hatred, huh? Well, when you look at that Peyronie disease, and you'll know why they hate us, brothers. Huh? Go look it up. I'm telling you, look it up. Because see, when you see that, you're going to be like, what the, huh? What is that? Right? So, I have to ask you, sisters, is that what turns you on? You want something a little bit different? You want the L shape? Huh? So just imagine if those who can see that, because I swear I wish I could have showed you it. You can ask yourself if that can, how that's going to get pregnant when it's like that. And matter of fact, how about this? Since I can't show it, what I'm going to do while I'm talking about it, I'm going to read to you what that is. Let me go on and pull that up. Let me show what this is here, y'all. Now, again, I don't do this to belittle no other people, but this is just the facts of what it is, right? And so I'm going to put it on here. There you go. Let's go. Let's get it. So it says this. Let me tell you what this Peyronie disease is. And the thing is, a lot of them have this. Okay? A lot of them have this. Now, it says Peyronie disease is where plaque, segments of flat scar tissue from under the skin of the penis, these plaques can cause the penis to bend or become indented during erection. The plaque can often be felt through the skin and can also be painful. All right, that's one aspect of it, but it's also the fact that the penis is curved like an L. Not y'all falling in love with, sisters? You like that L shape. Huh? That's what you was falling in love with? Huh? Give you the elbow. Putting the elbow in there, right? So with that being there, he can't hit the spot. That's why they taught you how to find the G-spot. Now it makes sense how they knew about the G-spot, right? So then they taught you, again, I don't want to get into all that. But I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying? I have to tell it is what it is. Now, let's see. Now, let me show you this here. Because, see, you, sisters, as that depiction of what I just showed you, did you catch how they made that like Mary with Jesus in the manger while with the cows? You are the Savior. I'm going to say that again. You, my sisters, are their Savior. Brothers, that's why we in the way. We in the way. Because he can't make it what he need, because again, I'm going to show you something after I show you this. First, I'm going to show you this, and I'm going to show you something else. Hold on, let me show you. Let me show you this. Check it out again, right? Talk with this one, right? He's looking in amazement, right? Look at that, manger. That's Mary.
I'm scared.
In a place and time when nobody can't produce.
Please help me.
The only one gonna be able to produce is you.
Jesus Christ.
King!
Hello?
King!
Hello?
Are you alright?
She wanted him to know. She has the right.
Of course she has.
For God's sake.
When you're ready, come inside. Everybody's arrived. She's pregnant. Now you know what's at stake. She's pregnant. Yeah, I know. It's a miracle, isn't it?
So you have the potential to save, right? Somebody's bacon. Well, again, this one might be, but I got to show you something here because, again, there's something that's going on that y'all had no idea. See, you know, you have us, what they, like, I think, I heard somebody talk about swirling. Yeah, that swirling. It has to be, right? And I'm going to show you the reason why they have to be swirling is because trying to procreate with each other is very expensive. It costs a lot of money because you got to fix the Peyronie disease. And you might be thinking sporadically it might be a couple of them. No. It's a lot of that. That's why all this opium, getting high, killing self, because if I can't produce, what good am I? So, check this story out, and I'll be back. Why more Americans don't get IVF treatment? You know I'm going to read that again. Why more Americans don't get IVF treatment. Story was done a little while back, about 2016. And this is how it reads. Back when I worked as a reproductive endocrinologist, I filled my days with the microscopic observation, decisions, and details of helping my patients have healthy babies. I spent much time thinking about the IVF industry as a whole, its business direction, whether or not it was a whole run efficiently. We saw patients 7 days a week, started ultrasound scans at 6 a.m. and kind of assumed that we and our colleagues were effective stewards of our little corner of the healthcare world. 12 years and one career later, I spent all my time studying industries and identifying inefficiencies and passing judgments on solutions, investing in those that make sense, and sometimes investing on the likelihood of failure of those that don't. And as much as I still respect and admire to the work of the RE nurses, scientists, and embryologists that do IVF now, I think that the big picture can be and should be better. Let's start with some basic data. Numbers of U.S. infertility patients, over 7 million. Number of IVF transfers in a year, less than 200,000. That's 1 in 35 infertility patients. Not every patient with infertility needs IVF, but to this XRE, 1 in 35 seems way too low. It's amount to approximately 1 IVF cycle for every 1,800 people in the United States. To compare, look outside the U.S. Other countries do a lot more. The UK does 1 cycle for every 1,000 people. Spain does 1 cycle for every 700 people. Japan about 1 in 500. Australia about 1 in 400. Israel 1 in 200, about 9 times what we do per capita. What's behind these huge differences? Most likely a combination of factors: cultural attitudes towards family size, at what age to start a family, population genetics, variation countries to country in healthcare spending. Is there a much higher prevalence of infertility in every country outside the United States? Birth rates are declining in most parts of the world, but little evidence exists that any one medically based variety of variables separates the United States prevalence from the rest of the world. What does differentiate the United States is the out-of-pocket cost of being an IVF patient. In economics, demand curve slope down and to the right. The more expensive the good or service, the lower the number of transactions. And IVF is more expensive in the United States than anywhere else in the world. Roughly $15,000 a cycle. Australia and Japan about $4,000 to $6,000 a cycle. Israel covered by governmental or government issue or insurance until the second baby, so minimal out-of-pocket expenses. Applying Israel uses statistics to the United States population would predict about 1.5 million IVF transfers per year. Are we getting better outcomes for the higher price we're paying for? Not necessarily. The United States accounts for approximately 30% of the world's spending on IVF and has produced 18% of the world's IVF babies. While one can attract the precision of these numbers, it's safe to say that a drop in out-of-pocket costs to patients will significantly expand the use of IVF in the United States. Certainly the IVF patients who have refinanced their homes to pay for that next one more try, IVF cycle more than 60% of the patients in last year's. Reproductive Medicine Association of New Jersey study who decided against doing IVF solely because it was too expensive know this already. There's a large pent-up demand for more affordable IVF in the United States. Why would the marketplace not meet this need? Not enough doctors, possibly given the long training period needed and limits of number of training positions in the field. Too few IVF laboratories, also a possibility, but the given high cost, hundreds of thousands to over $1 million of building an IVF lab, plus the cost of employing highly trained embryologists. Let's return to our data dump. Not enough doctors? IVF in the United States is typically performed by reproductive endocrinologists. 4 years OB-GYN residency, followed by 3 years fellowship, 2 written and 2 oral exams to become board certified, which most REs aspire to. There are 45 fellowships in the country, most recent OB-GYN board bulletin. Most graduating 1 and 3 fellows per year. There are 923 active fellow enrollments in the recertification program, a rolling process that is ongoing for almost all currently active fellowship grads, plus 44 taking their first written exams and 45 taking their first orals. The total, 1,013. Not every RE does IVF, and not every graduate of a fellowship is enrolled in the recertification program. But let's simplify and assume about 1,000 potential IVF does. This equates to about 200 IVF transfers per RE per year, a busy workload for a single practitioner, but manageable and scales able when doctors work in a group. 5 doctors can handle 1,000 cycles quite efficiently. Indeed, those tasks that are doctors only do not take tremendous amount of time. In theory, newly graduate fellows, let's assume 1 per program per year, or 45, could account for MD's workloads of 9,000 additional cycles if they all choose to do IVF each year. Yes, some REs will retire from IVF each year, but then again, there are more than 45 graduates each year, so the 2 more or less likely offsets. I would interpret these numbers and apply my unscientific anecdotal experience as a tiny amount of validation. To say that RE manpower is not a limiting factor to expanding the availability of IVF, I could go ahead and let you go on with the rest of it. It's about another 7 minutes. So I don't want to put y'all to sleep. But let's go ahead and get into what it's talking about. Now, what it's saying is, now, that IVF is basically in vitro fertilization, right? It's a process of fertilization where an egg is combined with sperm outside the body, right? So they're putting it together outside the body, right? And the process involves monitoring and stimulating a woman's ovular the ovaries, right? And then removing an ovum, right, from the woman's ovaries, letting sperm fertilize them in the liquid in a laboratory. Then they take what they call a zygote, which is a fertilized egg, and it takes about 2 to 6 days, and then they're transferred to another woman's uterus. Okay? So look at the process of what it's taking, and look how expensive, because if I let it keep playing as to what I was reading, you will see, as it stated, that it cost $15,000, and that was in 2016, right? When that report came out. So those who don't have the money can't afford to get in vitro. So guess who becomes my Patsy? You, sisters. You. It's cheaper. You know how, like, if you read the book of what is Harriet Washington's book? What's it called? Medical Apartheid. And if you haven't checked that book out, Harriet Washington's, I think it's, Medical Apartheid. And it talks about how the science that was created of how they did with the OB-GYN had something to do with them taking our ancestors and practicing on them with no anesthesia, right? Right. So all the messing they was learning and practicing, they was doing it, applying it on us, right? So, just again, if you want to use your medicine, you might as well go to the best source of what it is. Because see, if you are a lower level of it, if what can work on us definitely can work on you, right? So, this process that they're using is outside, like they say, petri dish. It basically, you might as well go back to when they was talking about when they was making baby Jessica way back in the 80s. Remember that? What they call a clone baby, right? So that's basically what's happening, that the natural process between man and female of procreating doesn't work due to the simple fact that a lot of them might be, as I gave you that word to go look up, that Peyronie disease. Oh, that's rampant, running rampant. That's running rampant. And if once you see that and look at them images of that, and you recognize, I don't know how you supposed to get pregnant doing that. And matter of fact, when you do more research, they're actually doing reconstructive surgery in that area. Oh my God. Huh? Brothers, you hear me? So you out here running with that, you're not understanding that game. See, because somebody needs to take the shot. Now, so when brothers is having babies with them, well, she's taking the shot because it's your biology that's going to kill and fight, because her going to be the same. Again, remember I made the video, the Rogaine, and talking about then they had to shoot inside so that, the biologically, system of hers is not attacking and killing the baby, right? So now they need you, sister. You got to be the bypass. And this is where all this has been coming down and winding down to. Because, see, it's global. Even China's like, oh, shit. See, you was killing up all your girls, right? Thinking that, again, with your population, thinking of military-wise, but then what about procreation to continue your system going? So now you got all these men. Matter of fact, I think men in China are having a problem, and, you know what I'm saying, and I'm pretty sure that other stuff is starting to be there. And then, I think I did a story where talking about AIDS was starting to pop up in China, right? And now you got a lot of them coming back to the continent, so what are they better bring with them? Because you know who they come to procreate with? Get rid of the men so they can procreate, right? So, we're going to let that keep playing, but that's too long. I don't want to do that. I want to put y'all to sleep. So, I got to give you this. I got to bring you back to give you remember this? You remember I did this in the original. So I'm going to do it here. All right, I'm gonna do it here. Let's do this and do this, and let's see if it does right, because it should work, and if not,
Dimensional matter now reaching critical mass.
no. See, we gonna have to do it like this. See, because see, it's on. It's where it's going, y'all. This is where it's going. Oh, they gonna try to not do it, huh? They gonna try to not do it. Okay, well, come on. Wow. Okay, I guess it's gonna start. I'm having a hard time, y'all. So I'm not sure who in the house. Okay, look like people done broke out. Back down to where we was. Yeah, because a couple of them got in here and got the hell up out of here. So let me see if I can get it, because right now I don't want to play the scene the way it's supposed to. So I don't not. See, look at that. Huh? It's crazy.
Dimensional matter now reaching critical mass.
What's going on? Why I don't want to do it? Are you trying to stop me from doing it? Okay. It's a damn shame. It's a damn shame. That's a damn shame, man. I'm going to try it once again. Let's see. Wow, I can't believe it. Again, see? Y'all be thinking I be making this up. Huh? Think I be making it up. So, all right, we'll just hold out to it when it's ready to do it, because it don't make sense. I think they hacked that, what I used to play. I think that's been hacked. Because I don't understand how all of a sudden it just don't want to play. It was just playing fine, right? The stuff you just seen prior to, right? So all of a sudden I don't want to play. Really? Really? See? Let me try something else then. Let me try this then. Let's try this. If I go here. That is crazy, man, huh? That's crazy.
Now reaching.
Yeah, it's crazy. That's just crazy what you're doing right now, but okay, it's what you gotta do, you gotta do. I get it. All right, so they're not gonna let me play that right now, yo. So, not gonna let me play too much of nothing else, huh? All right. Here's what it is, I get it. So, with that being said, I could not, let's see, because everything I got behind that, okay, how about this? Since you've seen what you've seen so far, I'm going to go ahead and let's do this. See if anybody wants to call in and talk about anything that we done displayed tonight. There you go, your number. Call in at 262-922-8755. And then I'll probably, somewhere down the line, we'll be able to play some of these other clips. I don't want to say too much. I just want to play, and if anybody want to talk about anything they seen in there, we could do that. I might put a time limit because we're not doing 4 hours. I don't got a problem with doing 4 hours if it need be, but I'm just saying. It can't make it kind of hard for people who come behind y'all and they be like, 4 hours? Matter of fact, if you in the house, you even said that. You was like, 4 hours? It's like, yeah, 4 hours. So, again, the call-in number is 262-922-8755. If anybody want to think about what's been shown already, because they're not going to allow me to play nothing else right now. So, let's see if they're going to let the phone work, because last time we tried, the phone didn't work. So, who would like to call in? Start it off. Let me see who in the audience out here. I got Yad Bay. We got, we got Peronis. Yes, right, sir. Spell it. P-E-Y-R-O-N-I-E. disease. Okay, Rock on, you didn't miss the show. Elbow room. Yeah, man. I mean, again, I don't make light of the situation because, I mean, that is kind of, messed up when you see somebody like that, right? It's kind of like, okay, it makes sense. It just makes sense that why people would have a hard time. Plus, sperm slow. The sperm cell is low, too. So, yeah, it makes a whole lot of sense. But, again, those are higher powers. That has nothing to do with you and I. That's just the way it has been. And so, when you run your course, you ran your course, and, it is what it is. So, can't be mad. What you mad at us for? We didn't do that to you. But now we understand why. Think about that, brothers. If you had Peyronie's disease, when you be frustrated and mad as hell, right? You be mad in the mug, too. Can't get right. You can't get right. You can't get right. You can't get right. So, damn, it's 2 hours? Damn, they speed the time up? I ain't no way I did 2 hours. Ain't no way. That was 2 hours? Hold on, man. That's 2 hours. Good Lord. That time was going to fly fast when we having fun in here. So I guess nobody want to. I'm going to try it again, y'all. I'm going to try to give you the visual once again. I don't know what's going on. They don't want to play for me. Why is that? Why are y'all holding it up like that? That's not right. That's just not right. They won't let it play, y'all. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't know. Hold on. Let me try this. Okay. Everything cool on that. Oh, I see. Oh, I see. All right. I see where you're in there. You're throwing in all this interference. Oh, I see it. Okay. I see what they doing. Okay, I see it. Okay. All right, so running interference, DOS attack, so that way it makes it hard for this to actually to work. So that's what you're doing. Okay. Try it again, see if I can...
Now reaching critical mass.
Well, let me. We can't. No, they're not going. This is crazy, man. It is really crazy how all of a sudden I can't even get the picture. You'll hear the sound, but you ain't finna get no picture. Ain't that something? So that means somebody out of here sitting and watching here, from wherever they sitting, they have the ability to do what they do. When they don't like what you're doing, they go ahead and they try to alter it. Don't want to sound loon and crazy, but that's just what it is. Because again, you just seen, we just played everything prior to that. So anyway, I can't do too much more than that because I had some visuals I want to show that I want to talk about, but again, I can't. So no one's going to call in. I'm going to try again, see if I can get this to work. Because this is what they want right here. They want me to shut this down. They want this shut down. Because most folks ain't talking. A lot of people ain't got no interest in it, right? You ain't got no interest. I don't care about none of that shit, Mr. Blows Your Mind. You better. Because this world anger coming from it. This is where the whole issue with you is at. See? Frustration. Right? That's why if you look at that Perone, right, and then you see how it is, well, that's why, brothers, when you getting with Buffy, you in territories that can't be reached. You've been into wonders of places that can't be, they go the other way. So you need an L up or down, right? You need a curve, right, whether it's 30, 60, or 90, right? But if you coming straight, okay, that's right, It is what it is. And that's why you can get somebody pregnant. And this one can't, because it can't hit the, can't shoot the arrow. Can't shoot the arrow that way. Right? So I had a problem with that. And so, matter of fact, if you read any of the stories on that, you'll see that they be recognizing that when they little. And so they end up trying to have penile constructive surgery later. And if you see some of that, if you hit that image when you go on Google and do that, oh man, huh? You see that image, it don't look that great. Matter of fact, let me get a little bit more on that because it talks about the fact that, again, they talk about like, I think it's called dorsal penile curvage, right? And then when it's going down, they call that, I think it's, what is that? I don't know. I know it's megametus is also part of that too. So it's like, yeah, there's a lot of issues in the reproduction system they are having that they're having problems, and it's the men as well as the woman, right? So if you put that two together, now we can see why globally, like, why it's having the issues. So maybe, again, like I said originally, when you go back to white extinction, there's a period of time when they probably could have got in, right? You know, you got some of our people who try to be with, you know, into the multiculturalism, right? So if they would have got in and just go ahead and, you know, and let the natural course take its place, maybe you don't get to hold on to your skin texture, but at least you would have the fertility and longevity and so forth, right? But we all get it when you want to be identified. But again, if it's false, it's false. And if you originally came from what people want to say it is, then it's like, okay, your whole premise is wrong from the get-go. But now you in a situation where it's like, you know, as the IVF story was talking about, their issue is they can't build the laboratories and you can't get enough qualified doctors because there's so many people who need it. You get what I'm saying? And so because of that, you need alternatives. So the alternative is becoming you, sisters. You becoming the alternative. Because you, like it showed in that clip, you are the savior. You will be able to save the bacon. And some sisters, I see, it's none in here, but I'm just saying, they be happy, right? But then we didn't know all that. And then again, you're not even sure, like if a brother is getting with them, you know, she might be taking the IVF so they can have the baby, right? So, all right, y'all secret is out, right? They secret is out. And like we finna be like, all right, no, hey, we have a spirit on us that keep us and prevent us from doing anything. That's why they say, oh, black people are the most forgiving people, most docile people, except against each other. But when it comes to other people, oh yeah, we got the greatest heart for you, so you don't have to worry about that. That's y'all issue. Don't be mad at us. We didn't do that to you, but I think that's where some of the shit is coming from. They see, again, as I said in the original, say they can see the exit. You know, it's approaching. And again, when you see this election, we see that how Muggs is cheating to fight. And you see how, I mean, there was first time there was a Korean who won. There was a Muslim woman who won. You know, sisters, brothers ain't really trying to get up in there, but you got Gilliam who most likely after they get done, he might just win, right? And so that will change the dynamic, and then it's going to slowly, what they said before, browning. And so I just say, what else comes with that, right? So I'm going to try one more time. I don't get why I can't get the picture. I'm getting me the sound, but I ain't going to get the picture, which is crazy. It doesn't make sense. Wow, that's really crazy. All right, y'all want to shut this down, huh? Yeah, that's crazy. That is really, really crazy. Okay, how about this? I got one for it. How about this? Let me see if I could pull. Let me see if I got another. Let me see if I could do this, y'all. Be a little patient with me. Let's see if this might work. Yeah, I mean, this is extreme. You just gonna keep flooding it up, huh? All right. You do what you gotta do. And try this here. Let's see. Let's see. It still won't show the damn picture. Wow, y'all something else, man. Yeah, that's what that shit is. You hack that so that you made it so I can't show the fucking picture. Ain't that a bitch? That's what that shit is, y'all. They hacked what I use to make the picture so that it can't show the picture. Huh? If you think what I'm doing is bullshit, then that's on you. All right, so nobody seems like they want to call in. I'll take the number down. And I guess I can't, even if I try to end the damn show, you ain't going to be able to see it. Ain't that about something? I know what I'm going to do. Those who be up tomorrow, you'll see another show tomorrow. This is wild. This here, they do it every time, huh? Yeah,
Portions of the following program may be unsuitable for younger or more sensitive viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
That's crazy. Yeah, I know. I see the whole thing.
Remember.
No. We're going to hold out. Look at that. That whole thing blinking. Yeah, look at that. Y'all full of shit. Ain't that something? They full of shit. How about this? So okay, hold on. We're gonna fight this shit. Okay, hold on. 1 second, y'all. I'm gonna do this first. Hold on. Take a quick break. Let me see if I can get something. You can hear it, right?
Reaching critical mass. 10, 9, 8, 3. Dimension jump complete. Dimensional stabilization chamber now sterilizing. Please note, body proximity during dimension jump has resulted in a 2% transfer of genetic material.
Kayla, are my eyes.
Post-dimension jump profile. Cardiovascular condition, excellent. Blood analysis, normal. Nervous system response, optimal. And Kayla, there's something else.
Yes, sweetie.
You're going to have a child. A girl. Congratulations. And welcome home.